Hello, my name is Benji Claus and welcome to Dice vs Cards. It is that time of year again, ladies and gentlemen, and what sort of tubular would I be without presenting you with a top 10 list of Christmas gift ideas? Now, like last year's videos, which are still well worth a gander, we'll be breaking down these lists into 4 categories. Lightweight, which we already published, medium weight, which we published last week, heavyweight games, which we're covering today, but for an extra cherry, we're also dishing out some stocking filler ideas. All of the games in this here list will be reliable for the hardcore gamer in your life, someone that wants to insert brain here and have a good old complex and thinky time at the table. Number 1, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Is this the world's first introductory heavyweight game? Well, in some ways, but this is probably the lightest game we'll talk about today. It takes everything that makes Gloomhaven one of the most respected strategical dungeon crawlers on the planet and morphs it into a much more accessible, albeit slimmed down version of its parent product. But to be fair, you're not losing much in terms of mechanics, but what you are gaining is quicker setup times and just an easier game to get to the table. Played on a board that actually folds out from the ring-bound scenario book, I couldn't have hoped for a much better version of this game at this price point. A really wonderful way to start this list. Number 2, Underwater Cities is a route building worker placement game where your job is to establish new means of habitation in the deep blue to accommodate overpopulation above ground. Each player will establish on their own player board and will be managing a small hand of cards throughout. Those cards will then activate various actions you can take on your turn, with those that have matching symbols giving you the ability to use the action and the benefits from the card. Having finite actions during each game, you need to make the most of each and every one of them, and this is where the challenge lies. Making for a richly strategic game where you'll need to adapt to whatever the game throws at you to take home the spoils. Number 3, Dungeon Alliance is, as you could guess from the title, a dungeon crawl, but one with a more predictable presentation than Jaws of the Lion, but also one that comes with a twist, as each player will take control of multiple characters. The reason for that is you can play the game competitively, cooperatively, or somewhere in between. Now, in the former, you'll be controlling both the characters and the dungeon's denizens, which are revealed as you explore the randomised rooms throughout a game. There's a great deal of flavour and variety on offer with all the characters you can play, and the core mechanics are a nice mix of elegant and rewarding, ensuring this has its own place in a somewhat crowded genre. Number 4, Root is an asymmetrical war game that, at least at first glance, looks like nothing of the sort. You play as one of 4 differing factions of woodland creatures, all with vastly different playstyles and with only a few card and movement based mechanics shared between some or all of them. It's that beauty of learning and playing the same game but from wildly disparate angles that makes this a standout. One faction may start with a numerical advantage and your job is to build, whereas another is to sow rebellion and discourse to gain influence. One thing's for sure, you will rarely play the same game twice, with the differing combinations that can be present in this highly replayable and immensely enjoyable game. Number 5, Teotihuacan, City of Gods, is a dice-based worker placement game where you play as members of royal families vying for glory. Each turn you'll be placing your dice on one of 2 slots, both of which represent an action you can take, but one allows you to upgrade your worker and the other gives you a powerful bonus instead. You'll be gathering resources to build on the communal pyramid and advancing along a number of different achievement tracks over the course of 3 rounds. And at the end of each, you'll be claiming points before you move on to the next. There are a number of ways for you to achieve success here, making this a solid Euro game that provides plenty of variability and, despite the presence of dice, is conspicuously absent of luck. Number 6. Maracaibo is set in the Caribbean, where you as players set sail across 3 nations, looking to spread your influence and wealth. With a number of different parts combining engine building, contracts and quests, and action selection amongst others, that will see you moving across the length and breadth of the board, exploring and engaging in warfare over the course of 4 rounds. The theme in Maracaibo is perfectly suited to this type of game, and so makes for a suitably immersive gameplay experience. With the added benefit of an evolving campaign mode included in the box, you won't be left disappointed with the different ways you can play, be it exploring, engaging in combat, or going full trade in order to take home the victory. Number 7. Barrage is a worker placement and route building game set in a dystopic 1930s, where hydroelectricity is now the only energy source available after the exhaustion of fossil fuels. You'll be carrying out actions that are then added to a construction wheel that will only be available after a full rotation. The better you manage that return, the better your tempo. Players will be managing intricate networks on the communal player board, looking to build dams and redirect the flow of water in order that you're the one that's able to store and use the most, gaining the most points over 5 rounds. That goes without mentioning the quests you can undertake and the upgrades you can acquire to make the process of building your empire more efficient. Number 8. Youboot is a fully cooperative real-time game set on, you guessed it, a submarine. The accompanying app will guide you through the as-it-happens nature of the game, where each player is assigned a specific role and requires a great deal of teamwork for you to succeed. Acting like a super complex version of Captain Sonar in terms of your submersibles operation, where you need to ensure crew members are just where they need to be to carry out the myriad number of actions available. There's a real sense of gritty realism added to all of the layers and roles found in the game. And what you have to put in terms of the learning curve and the need to really know what you're doing, you get back in an exceedingly rewarding game, made the more sweeter by doing things as a team. Number 9. Cloudspire is a tile placement game played on a modular board and styled in the vein of a tower defense or MOBA game. Now, the game's played in a storybook fashion, continuing the narrative through the lens of each of the asymmetrical warring factions as they try and steal and stockpile source energy that's then used to recruit and build. The poker chips that represent your army's units are either placed individually or stacked to conceal their exact composition. Now, your heroes are free to move wherever you need, but your rank and file will move along pre-programmed routes, and your spires represent your static defense. The game employs dice resolution for combat, and the rest is what you'd expect and more from a hex-based wargame. Number 10. Cerebria, The Inside World, is a team-based area control game set in the somewhat abstract arena of your consciousness, with 2 types of spirits, bliss and gloom, representing the dual nature of the psyche. It's then the cards symbolising emotions that control the various aspects of the communal board and facilitate their abilities. With the limited actions you as the spirits have each turn, you'll be chasing minor objectives that represent your host's intentions and major objectives that detail your aspirations. Scoring these allow you to manipulate the tower in the middle of the board, which is what shapes this individual's personality. It's then the team that had the most influence here that wins the game. So there you have it, our top 10 Christmas gift ideas in the category of heavyweight games. We hope you found something that's fluttered your intrigue and subliminally grabbed you. Stay tuned next week for another set of You Might Want to Considers, this time of the portable and travel sized stocking filler variety. However, that's it from me. I'll see you next time.